There's been a long ass Instagram comment from Boz going around. We're just talking about how Drake is one of the greatest songwriters hip hop's ever seen, or the generation, or I don't remember what he said. I haven't read the whole thing. It was really long, and the text was small, and I can't see that well. But that got me thinking, what are some other great songwriters that hip hop has? Well, at least by my metrics and what I consider to be great and what I consider great and interesting songwriting, which comes down to how interesting the concepts you share are, how well you are getting them across, and how interesting you can get them across. So it's practically a storytelling list, because storytelling is very good songwriting. If not, then that would just be coming across like a lyricism list, and not all great lyricists are great songwriters. That's why most battle rappers cannot make good songs. It's been a thing for like forever. So that's pretty much what I'm going off of. Just interesting concepts in your songs, how you put the song together, all that. There's a bunch of options I could think of that I decided to put together. I compiled a list. I got a couple tracks for each of them, and a couple pros and cons as well, because why not? Starting, we've got Lupe Fiasco.
If you had to paint the gutter, which color would you choose? Said the patron to the painter said the blues. Do you act off intuition or languish and peruse? More like tap into tradition from the angle of my mood.
For some of these songs, I don't even know how he thinks of these things. They don't even make sense. Like Miss Mural is a good example, which is essentially Lupe talking about his experiences with record labels through a metaphor of a painter talking to someone trying to buy a painting from him. Or Wave Files, which is Lupe talking about a story of kidnapped Africans that jumped off of slave ships that found out they could survive under the water, and then use that new ability to drag down other slave ships to save the slaves that they had on them. Like, it's a nerd, and I love it, because I'm also a nerd. So, nerdy shit in nerdy music makes great stuff. Or, another one, we got Janila Forever, which is another song on Druggus Wave, where Lupe raps about an alternate reality where Janila Watkins, a 6-month-old baby who was shot in Chicago, grows up to become a doctor. And then in this alternate reality is also a time loop where she becomes a doctor and ends up saving herself from dying. Which, yeah, he's barely ever surface level. There's always something else. There's always some other connecting thread, something to connect it to, and it almost never makes sense first time, because it's just such an off-the-wall concept that he grabs every time that you gotta go back upon something, or this song connects to this song from this album, which connects to this concept and this thing here, and it's just, in the wording he uses is weird, and it's just always insane. Which, while great if you want to listen to it a bunch of times, or if you want to have Genius open while you're listening to his music, it leads to his biggest con and his biggest problem. Lupe does not want to be simple with what he's doing, ever, anymore at this point, really. After Lasers, where he was forced to go super duper commercial, he's had a mid-range before, like with on Food and Liquor and The Cool. He's able to be simple and tell the story, but clearly he loves being as complex as possible with the weird concept. So if you're not sitting and like listening, you can't just get it casually. You have to focus on what he's saying. You can't really be doing something else. And he really does not care if that's the way it is. You either get it or you don't. Another example we got, one of my favorites, MF Doom.
If modesty. That is probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people, you can call me your majesty. Keep your battery charged, he know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow.
Now, when it comes to MF Doom, I didn't list any song examples. I couldn't think of a handful of songs that would perfectly encapsulate him, because he spreads this sort of thing across his albums, with the first one that I've chose being Food. The entire album is an extended food metaphor. Every song is a food metaphor. When it comes to beef rap, one beer, hoe cakes, con queso, like there's just so many, and he just does it throughout every song. It's so great. Vaudeville Villain is another album, which another thing Doom loves to do. He has all these like different like variety of characters that he uses, like MF Doom, the main one, Mad Villain, which does him and Madlib, King Ghidorah, and my favorite outside of MF Doom, Victor Vaughn. Victor Vaughn is a rapper from the future who gets stuck in the past and has to start a rap career to get the money to repair his time machine, to get back to where he came from, which is the most insane concept I've ever heard of. Doom, just like Lupe, picks these insanely off-the-wall concepts and sticks to them for pretty much a whole album, unlike Lupe, who kind of does it song by song while being way more complex. Doom does it throughout a whole album without being as hard to catch as Lupe is. You can catch Doom pretty much the whole time, but he just does it for way longer. But one thing that does hold Doom back is his sound is very not for everybody. His flow is weird. He has a very deep voice and a thick New York accent. You can't even tell what he's saying sometimes if you aren't really listening to him. And if you just combining how his voice sounds with how he flows on some of these beats, it's not gonna appeal to everybody. So, just because the song writing is great, it's not gonna click if you're just like, I really do not like how this dude raps. Which, can't fault anybody for that. Now, the last one, there's a couple other people I could have put on here really. I didn't want to just rattle off the list of rapper after rapper after rapper. I could have put Andre, I could have put Jay-Z, I could have put Black Thought, I could have put... I can't just think of every rapper that's a great songwriter. There's a bunch of them. Could have put a bunch of people on here, but I was not going to do that because that's excessive. Now, the last one, we've got Kendrick Lamar.
How much a dollar really costs? The question is detrimental, paralyzing my thoughts. Parasites in my stomach keep me with a gut feeling, y'all. Gotta see how I'm chilling once I park this luxury car. Hopping out feeling big as Mutombo. 20 on pump 6, 30 Marcellus called me Dumbo. 20 years ago, can't forget. Now I can lend them my ear or two. How to stack these residuals tenfold. The liberal concept that men do. 2006 and didn't hear me. Indigenous African, only spoke Zulu. My American tongue was leery. Walked out the gas station, a homeless man with a 70-tan complexion. Asked me for 10 rand, stressing about dry land. Deep water, powder blue skies that crack open. A piece of crack that he wanted. I knew he was smoking, he begged and pleaded. Asked me to feed him twice, I didn't believe it. Told him beat it. Contributed money just for his pipe, I couldn't see it.
Everyone knew he was going to be on here. There was literally no way he wasn't going to be. He manages to have all the pros of pretty much everybody without having the flaws. He is able to be as intricate and in-depth as necessary, to where people who love digging into lyrics and really love picking songs apart can find more and more every time, while if you just pay attention on the first listen, you will get what he's talking about. While I love Kendrick's music, I do think people do overplay how complicated he is in a negative and a positive fashion. I think if you listen to To Pimp a Butterfly all the way through and just pay attention, Mortal Man just literally tells you the concept of the album. There's not much to be confused about by the time you get there. I do think people just kind of get over in their heads about it too much. Not too complex, but they're also not completely surface level, so there's something for everybody. Also, just like Eminem, he's great with his vocal control and using his voice as kind of like an instrument to really hammer home the feeling of the track. A couple examples I picked out here. Mother I Sober, which is my favorite song off of Mr. Morale, one of probably a top 5 Kendrick song for me, maybe top 3, I think. Such a heartfelt track, his most emotional, probably his most important song, I'd say. If I could ask him, I think he'd probably say that. Meet the Grams. Say what you want about whatever, daughter, what exists, what's true, what's not. I don't care. Niggas are gonna lie about each other in a battle. One lie, 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 lie. I do not care. I'm not a fact checker. I'm not a lawyer. But this track showed me, it was the perfect distillation of, this really showed me in the battle how Kendrick's going to use every aspect of his skill set. And this was him explicitly using that songwriter skill set, that storytelling skill set that I will really pick apart an idea and lean into it to really get the point home. Like, setting the track up with a letter to everybody, with the emotion shifting and him slightly changing his tone depending on who he's talking to in each verse, with that fourth verse being one of my favorite Kendrick verses ever, just with how he set it up, with the emotion and the build and everything surrounding the lead up to this moment, is just amazing. How Much a Dollar Cost off To Pimp a Butterfly, one of my favorite songs off that album. Kendrick meeting the homeless man, refusing to give him $1. Homeless man turns out to be God, which cost Kendrick his place in heaven, showing how much that dollar cost. Then, I got 2 more on here. Kendrick's the only one who got 5 honorable mentions here. Well, best examples for tracks. Prayer, these are both lead tracks. Prayer, which is essentially Kendrick speaking from the perspective of Jackson 5's ABC and MLK's I Have a Dream speech, as well as a verse just from himself, as an analysis and a piece on separating the art from the artist, and not trying to hold, not necessarily about holding artists to a standard, but more to keep what they do and what they've made separate. And then a more recent Kendrick leak, which was bubbling up last year. Probably not going to play audio for these. It's probably just a terrible idea. But Abortion Money, which is one of my favorite Kendrick leak, definitely my favorite Kendrick leak, would probably be one of my favorite Kendrick songs if it was out, because I just love the sonics of it. Kendrick uses, after the first verse, he uses verses 2, this is a 4-verse song now that I think about it, that's crazy. He uses verses 2 and 3 to speak about the various situations in which a woman may deem an abortion necessary. The perspective of a young girl being sexually abused by her mother's boyfriend, and I think her mother's also young in the context of the verse, and wishing that she was aborted instead, and if she knew that she would have to deal with this in her youth. Another verse, that third verse, is from the perspective of a woman who is pregnant due to sexual assault and doesn't want to bring the child into the world under those circumstances because she doesn't think anything good can come from it. And then the fourth verse is from the perspective of God, essentially just talking about how humanity has fallen so far and you're just turning these good things into negative things by putting these women in situations where they feel like they have to have an abortion or want to be aborted. Which, love the song, great track. Which it does lead into one issue Kendrick seems to have across songs. He tends to, I wouldn't say flip-flop, but he tends to believe in a lot of things very firmly, but it's hard to see him believing in, well, it's possibly he believes in both of them. I don't think he's lying, but I think believing in firmly separating the art from the artist allows him to, for example, work with someone like Kodak Black. But I also believe that he takes what he talks about on the song Abortion Money seriously as well, and he isn't just saying it to say it. Because it's not like performative points, no one's expecting him to say anything about it at all. Like, if Kendrick never talked about Roe v. Wade, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, what's Kendrick think? But he does talk about it. So I do believe he cares, but I think him also believing so firmly in separating the art from the artist makes him look like a hypocrite, because it's hard to believe both.
Kendrick?
But not exactly a comment on his
Kendrick.
songwriting, more on the ideas he puts forth.
Did
in
you
the
hear that,
songs,
Kendrick?
which isn't
Yes.
a songwriting skill, just more of a him thing. But
My apologies. I thought
yeah,
my time was up.
that's all I got really. Kind of want to try and get in my
No, we can continue if you like.
commentator bag. Maybe if I get enough
So,
calls, man, Culture United.
What did you say to the lady in the parking structure?
You took my damn parking
I
spot.
told her I didn't take your damn parking spot.
But
And how did that make you feel, reacting that way?
I felt decent
well, not
Oh,
the guys at Culture
how come?
United.
because I did take her parking spot.
Yeah, all in all,
No.
that's all I got. Who knows? I might double back on this one day, or who knows? I'll just talk about more rap shit. I kind of just post whatever I want on here anyway. So, hey.
You texted me at 2 o'clock in the
Let me know if
morning.
anyone's got a. I don't know if I have a specific favorite. Would I say Kendrick's my favorite on here? Kind of sounds like dick riding.